Welcome back, everybody. It is Thursday, June 28th, 2018, 9:32 a.m. We are 7 days into summer. You are looking at a current temperature map, but don't get used to these numbers because we are in the beginning of a major heat wave. This is the talk of the town right now. I know we've been talking a lot about the tropical areas of the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, but we do need to remember it is summer. These numbers will change dramatically. We're talking 90s and hundreds, record-breaking temperatures over the next 4 to 5 days, moving into the 4th of July. Now, I want you to look here. This heat wave currently is mostly passing through Colorado, moving through Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, states in those areas. But look at some of these numbers here. We got Wyoming, 94 degrees, tying the record. Denver, Colorado is expected to hit 104, destroying the record on this day. These are daily records, so on this day, the highest temperature ever recorded in Denver is 99 degrees, expected to hit 104. Colorado Springs, Colorado, 98, expected to tie the record. Pueblo, Colorado, just under the record. Basically, it is going to be hot. It is hot, and this wave is moving west to east all the way across the Central Plains. We got some spotty storms underneath the Great Lakes, which will help in some areas, but in some areas all it's going to do is make this heat muggy. You can see over the next 5 days where this heat is going to centralize, and this is mostly, like I said, underneath the Great Lakes, rather, basically from the area of Minnesota all the way across the border of Canada and the Great Lakes into the Northeast. This is going to be the worst of the worst. We're talking temperatures that could reach 110 degrees in some of these areas. But before that, we are dealing with the central part of the country, which we are going to talk about. This is going to be Thursday, Friday, going into Saturday. Look at some of these temperatures down in this area here in Minnesota, guys. We got 103, 108 in the Twin Cities, 102 in Redwood Falls, 105 in Mankota. These are crazy temperatures. 102 Rochester, and then as we move into Wisconsin, Park Falls 97, Hayward 100, 107 in Mouston. La Crosse, we have 107. That is also in Wisconsin. And then you can even see underneath in Iowa, we have 106. So this heat wave is beginning on this left side here, and this is where the peak index is going to be over the next few days. And then as we move into the next couple days, this entire wave we have here is just going to shift over and up into the northeast. They are actually setting up. Sorry if my mic is too close to my mouth there, guys. Sorry about that. They're setting up cooling areas in Chicago, St. Louis, Detroit. They're preparing for this. This is not a small deal. 95 to 110 degrees they're expecting in areas of Chicago, St. Louis, and Detroit. They are warning people about heat exhaustion, people that work outside or work out outside, to kind of avoid this heat wave if you can. Plenty of fluid, stuff of that nature. These storms that we're looking at now, I want to match these up with our Doppler radar and give you an idea of what I'm talking about as far as the heat wave mixed with these storms. Now, this is the last frame. This is currently going on as we speak. So you can see we have 3 pretty significant storms. One of these is over South Dakota and Nebraska right now. And then it's almost like a diagonal line down towards South Carolina and Georgia. So then our second set of storms is over Missouri right now, and then as we move over into Tennessee and Kentucky, we have a third set right there. Now basically the heat, as I move backwards and then move forwards, you can see this is the rain that the Northeast got last night. Pretty strong storms. This was keeping me up last night, actually. I'm in southeast Pennsylvania near Philadelphia. We had some pretty significant storms, and now these are also very significant storms, but the heat that is moving in between these storms is very significant, and what's going on is these storms with the moisture is making this a very heavy heat, very groggy, very muggy out, that type of sweaty heat that everyone just does not want to deal with. So you can see here, I just want to show you the tornado percentages right now. With that one storm that we had up here, this is actually moving down in this area now, so these percentages are probably lower, but there was actually a touchdown tornado in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania yesterday, which is on the west side of PA, right down in this area just above West Virginia, and now you can see that 2% area has moved over to the northeast. Probably no chance of tornadoes there, but just to give you, those of you that live in Pennsylvania, an idea of what they were experiencing last night, like I said, I'm in the Philadelphia area, the opposite side of where that tornado was, but there was tornado warnings and watches all through Pennsylvania and parts of West Virginia, and there was actually a touchdown in Pittsburgh. So But back to the problem at hand here. You can see the lightning is matching up perfectly with where these storms are currently on our last frame. Actually, that is the last frame. So you're going to see this one at least blow up a little more. And as these move under the Great Lakes, what this is going to do is mix with the heat. And that's why the Northeast is such a big target right now with this heat. It's a little bit drier in the Central Plains right now with these high temperatures we're expecting. But don't be fooled by it, because this moisture is going to mix with that heat, and it's going to be one of those muggy few days going on in the Northeast. And also, as far as the holiday goes, we could have a very soggy holiday for the Gulf states as we have a wave moving through. That is there's a few other things I want to get into. I'm not going to go into too much detail here in this video. This will be a separate video. But we have two waves coming off of the west coast of Africa right now that we really need to watch. We have one that is just about at the Leeward Islands right now. They almost look like shark fins. That's what we want to look out for when we look for these storms beginning to spin and roll in a counterclockwise motion. Those would be the beginning of tropical depressions. This second one is the one that's concerning to me, and this is the one that would be following right after 4th of July weekend. This one is the one that would be moving up into the Gulf for the 4th of July. So we need to watch both of these waves, as they both could become hurricanes, even though we don't have any invest information going on the charts as we speak. The Gulf is very, very primed up for these cyclones. The index is red. The entire Gulf area is red, including the Pacific side is all red, which means that they are at peak intensity for the possibility of cyclones. So all they need is the moisture, and these storms that begin to stick together, if they hang together into this area, chances are they will begin to rotate. We need to watch that very closely. Here is just a quick article on what to expect with this heat wave. Let's see here. All right, so this is going to be Thursday, which is obviously today. We have those thunderstorms we showed going through Iowa and then down into the Central Plains underneath the Great Lakes. Now you can see these are the thunderstorms here, and then the heat is building. We were just showing those temperatures from Colorado. You can see here Colorado right now is getting those record high temperatures, and that heat is moving in between the storms. So you can match it here. We got Denver right in this area. The heat is moving up in between these storms, and as these storms move down, it's going to mix, it's going to swirl around in circles, and it's going to become that very muggy type heat that we don't want. As we move into Friday, you can see right here, guys, 95 to 110 degrees. This is all the way from Kansas City to Detroit. You follow the arrows here, that is where the heat is moving, and then the cooling storms behind it, which is going to be following later on next week, which will cool things down. It will wetten things up, but not before we break a lot of records. We're talking Green Bay. All these states here you see are under major watches right now, as you can see when you match it to the county by county chart right here. Now you can update this almost every 20 minutes and it'll highlight a new county, so you'll start seeing these burgundy colors moving over into the northeastern states, and as we move into Friday and Saturday, this entire thing is going to shift over into the northeast. So this is no thing to mess with. A lot of you in these states are already feeling the beginning of that heat. I did show you current temperatures for right now. These are going to change big time, guys. It will not be 60s for much longer in the Northeast. In fact, if you go outside right now, it feels like it's 80, 85 degrees. So it's just that very hot sun. We got the storms following it. Again, storms with lightning, so these are moisture-filled storms. These are big storms. I don't know if they're going to connect or how long they will last. It kind of looks like as they bow down into the Kentucky, Nebraska areas, or Kentucky, Tennessee areas, I'm sorry, they start to break up. But I feel like these two, rather than coming down this way, by the time they get to right under the Great Lakes, they're going to get pulled up into the northeast. So there's going to be some saturation in the northeast during this heat wave and definitely afterwards. So those of you that live in any of these cities, Chicago, St. Louis, Detroit, you need to prepare for this, especially for those of you that don't have air conditioning. Stock up on some water. I do not like telling people to spend money in any way, shape, or form, but we're talking, simple things here. Water, very important. It's important to stay in cool areas of your house if you don't have air conditioning. Go to a place that does. There are plenty of public areas you can go to. And you just need to keep an eye on this because it's going to last about 4 to 5 days. You can see right here in this area of the article, it says, in urban areas of major cities such as Chicago, St. Louis, Detroit, and Cincinnati, cooling stations will be needed. The vast expanse of concrete and pavement will give off heat at night and make sleeping difficult without air conditioning. So basically, the city areas with a lot of concrete, that heat bounces right off of it and comes right back up. So it's just horrible conditions for people that live in cities. And then when you're out in the suburbs, obviously you're exposed to more sunlight and things of that nature. And then once these storms start mixing with the heat, guys, it's going to be that muggy, you just walk outside and you start sweating type stuff. So I just wanted to put this out there. I hope everyone's doing well. We're going to get into these invests that are going on in the Pacific side, and we're going to talk about these two tropical waves that we need to keep an eye on coming off the west coast of Africa right now. Like I said, the first one looks like a shark fin. That's what you always want to look out for. That is our tall signal that we look out for the possibility of tropical depressions, just like that 9 symbol we used to watch out for the nor'easters that we had this year up in the northeast over the winter. So same sort of symbol here. We got that shark fin look. We got this one already starting to barrel over, and that's not good. That's what we don't want to see, because we get that counterclockwise movement, especially this early, right after it leaves the coast by the, oh my gosh, the west coast of Africa. I'm sorry, guys, I'm stumbling all over the place today. Once you start seeing these things barrel roll, that's where you want to be concerned, because that is the beginning of tropical depressions, and those storms start clinging together. So, all right, with that said, I've been rambling enough, guys. We are going to let you go here. Once again, records being broken in Colorado as we speak. This heat wave is moving west to east. Once again, here is our next 5 days. 4.5 to day 9.75, so it is going to be a 5-day chart here. It's going to be hot, so just get prepared for it, especially the areas of the Northeast and the Great Lakes. And then last but not least, we'll take a look at this chart again. This will be today and tomorrow. This is why they're setting up cooling stations. When you see numbers over 101, 104, 103, 107, that is no joke, guys. All right, thank you for listening. I will be back again with another video today. We will talk more about the Caribbean and the tropical intensity charts for our hurricane season. Thank you all very much. Stay safe, drink water, stay cool. Bye-bye.